It's yet another excruciatingly hot day here in Washington, D.C., and it's possibly about to get a lot hotter. For those of them following the reporting on this matter for almost 2 years now, started with Maria Bartiromo on Fox, and of course Luke Rosiak, George Webb Swigert, myself, many others, have been reporting on the individual Donald Trump calls the Pakistani Mystery Man. Of course, I'm speaking of Imran Awan, and the big concern today is, will Imran get this plea hearing, or will he skate? I mean, he's having a plea hearing, but it's a plea deal that he's made. Is he going to, in exchange for a lenient treatment, is he going to reveal the true criminals behind what has become to be known to us as a spy ring in Congress? Well, we're here at 333 Constitution Avenue. That is the D.C. Federal District Courthouse. We've been finding a strange number of courthouses around the country that have that 333 address. Quinn Michaels tells us that's an encoded 93. Other people say it's the symbol of half evil. I just want to remind people that Imran Awan is a Pakistani national who was hired by Debbie Wasserman Schultz and is defended by Chris Gowen. Chris Gowen, of course, being a former Clinton Foundation aide to Bill and Hillary Clinton. And Chris has dodged a lot of my questions. Certainly the last time we were here at the courthouse, we spoke to Chris and Imran, and they said this.
He's the best legal reporter in the United States. Right here, on-camera legal reporter.
What was in the shed at 4809 Sprayer, Imran?
We're going to go in right now. We're late.
What you have in that shed at 4809 Sprayer Street?
That's what they're saying you did.
How many Pakistani police officers did you bribe? Chris, did you lie about him? Well, Chris Gowen doesn't want to talk about what was going on in the shed at 4809 Sprayer Street. He was adamant that the shed was not registered, so we're going to have to inquire with the Department of Sheds as to how you would go about doing that. Chris also told us that he was responsible for delivering Diet Coke to President. 4809 Sprayer was one of the homes bought with the fraudulent bank loans. What did he have in the shed at 4809 Sprayer?
No idea what you're even talking about now.
You don't know about 4809 Sprayer, Chris?
What I do know, Jason, is that there's a United States attorney in this case. So that's called a prosecutor, right?
Right.
And so what this prosecutor does is he investigates crimes.
Right.
And they've been investigating these crimes for over a year.
What about the Clinton Foundation crimes? They've been investigating those even longer, and nothing's happened.
And there's
you
been
worked
no.
for the Clinton Foundation.
So you seem to ask one question, and then when I started giving you an answer that you
what was in the shed at 4809 Sprayer, Chris?
You don't like, you obviously nothing, Jason.
Well, you're obfuscating. I don't think nothing. Why did he have a Cox? Why did he have a Cox cable account at a house he never lived at that he bought with a fraudulent loan?
Independent reporting, little.
Tell me.
Stuff you do.
Tell me.
There's obviously nothing in this shed or whatever you're talking about.
Why did he visit it every 2 or 3 days?
Why are there no, Jason, there's no charges against him except for stating that one property wasn't his primary residence. That's what.
Can you show me his Uber account as you offered to show the judge on the phone?
I'll show it to CNN or a real reporter, but yeah, I have it on my phone right here.
Oh, well, why won't you show it to me?
Thanks to all, because I don't appreciate, because every time, you went on and recorded me without talking to me. You've done all these stupid things.
I called. I had no idea it was you. You didn't even tell me your name when you answered the phone, and you expected me to know who you were. I thought an assistant would answer the phone, and you were pretty rude, as you have been every time we've met.
Yeah, well, so have you. You're
No,
not.
I called you up to ask you legitimate questions.
Play
Play fake news. Is it fake news?
You know
why was he visiting the shed at 4809 Sprayer?
You want to know what you should be asking about?
Tell me.
Is what that whole the last thing the government brought up was all about you. You don't even realize that, do you?
Well, how is it about me, Chris?
We'll
Tell me.
see.
The obliterate file was about me?
The inadvertent disclosure has something to do with you, pal.
What did I do?
Wait till you hear.
Tell me.
What?
Why don't you tell me?
No, I can't right now. I'm under strict rules to not talk about it. But wait till you see what you screwed up there.
Oh well, what did I screw up?
You'll
tell
see.
me. I'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
So you seem. What about the Clinton Foundation? Can you talk to us about that? What was your involvement with the Clinton Foundation?
I specialize in like Diet Coke retrieval for President Clinton. When he needed Diet Coke, I get him a Diet Coke.
Is that what you specialize in?
Advanced.
So how did you become a lawyer? It seems like what you're well suited for is retrieving Diet Coke.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Have a good day. I'm excited to see what I screwed up. I'm aware of what you're screwing up.
So since that time, we've learned that the inadvertent disclosure had to do with Laurel Everly's evidence that I drove her to the U.S. Capitol Police to deliver. This was a laptop that Laurel suspected Imran had hacked. Laurel, of course, was one of the renters. She rented the home at 4809 Sprayer Street, one of the homes Imran had purchased with the fraudulent bank loans that he is under indictment for and here to make his plea arrangement for today. Now, in that exchange, Chris Gowen was very adamant that I had screwed something up. Of course, we've heard Thomas Paine of True Pundit say the only way that evidence could have gotten from the U.S. Capitol Police to the defense attorneys rather than the prosecutor creating this inadvertent disclosure would be if someone from the defense attorney's side had intervened. Does he mean that they somehow fooled the U.S. Capitol Police? It's very interesting. Now, many people recall that I went to Gowen, well, it's now Gowen, Silva, and Winograd, and I went there to apologize to Chris and to learn some more about the situation. But really, primarily, it was to investigate what seemed to be, rather than working for Uber, Imran was actually employed at the law office there. Let's listen to that. Hi, is Chris Gowen in?
Who's calling, please?
This is Jason Goodman. I got into a little bit of an argument with him last week, and I wanted to apologize if he's willing to speak with me.
He's in the court right now.
Into court? Oh, all right. All right, I'll call back later. Thanks. How you doing, Jesse?
Good. What's up? You got something for me?
Well, yeah, I wanted to give it to Imran. Is he here?
The heck is this?
That's a picture.
Of what?
Well, that right there is a Cox cable internet router. Can I come in and talk to you about it?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't feel like talking to you today.
Is Imran here?
He is. Why?
Because it sounds like he's answering your phones.
What's your point?
Is he working for you?
Go away.
Is he or is he not?
Get off my door.
Is Imran Awan working for you guys?
Get off my door.
Why is he answering the phones, Jesse? What? So we've got Imran answering phones there, as confirmed by Jesse Winograd, going to be joining Lee Stranahan right now on Nixon and Stranahan, and fault lines. We'll be on in just a moment.
The caller's written a lot about it on the show a number of times, but joining us right now, also a guest we've had talk about the Awan brothers story before, is my friend Jason Goodman. Jason from Crowdsource the Truth. Hey, Jason, how you doing, first off?
I'm well, Lee. Good to speak to you. Garland, how you doing?
Fantastic. Hey, now, Jason, tell us where you are right now.
Well, right now I'm right outside 333 Constitution Avenue, the district court, the federal court here in Washington, D.C., where Imran Awan is expected momentarily. He's going to be here for a plea agreement hearing today, which, I mean, just the name of the hearing seems to indicate that Imran Awan has made some sort of a deal that's going to help him avoid incarceration, which is going to be a major disappointment if that's what happens.
Well, since you're outside the courtroom, I gotta say, you must be mobbed by the media out there. Can you see through all the media trucks and the helicopters surrounding? Helicopters?
Actually, the only member of the media that I see right now is my extremely tall former partner. It's empty out here. No one's covering this. There's crickets.
What do you know about that? One of the things that I find odd about this, and that is, there's something fishy here, and that Imran Awan is involved in missing servers. He's involved in, getting into the computers when he was not, allowed, when he was not supposed to. And all this going on. This is a cybersecurity issue going on during the 2016 election, and it appears to me that the only thing he's been charged with is lying on a form to the credit union for a loan. And it seems to me, I don't know about you, that they're trying to just do a plea agreement and wash the rest of this thing away. Something's awful fishy about this, my friend. What do you think?
I agree with you completely, Garland. I mean, he's been charged with bank fraud. I've presented evidence to the U.S. Capitol Police that indicates at the very least he was hacking the computer, or may have been hacking the computer, of Laurel Everly, a woman who rented a home from Imran at 4809 Sprayer Street, a home that was purchased with the fraudulent bank loans. Now, Laurel presented additional evidence that indicated that Imran had a high-speed Cox Cable internet account out at the house. This was not an internet account that was offered to renters at the home, but rather it was kept secret from the renters, and Laurel didn't even know about it until my team at Crowdsource the Truth pointed it out to her. And Laurel also told us that Imran had a locked shed on the property connected to the garage that this Cox Cable internet router fed internet right into, and when she asked him to turn off a light in the shed that was on 24/7, he refused because he said it was a light on an air conditioning unit required to keep that shed cool. So I suspect he had a server in the shed. Laurel also told us that he got very upset. Imran became very upset when the basement in the house flooded, because that would, of course, caused his internet router to fail, and I believe it would have stopped the transmission of stolen data from Congress to his secret server in the shed. But we've not been able to get confirmation on that, because when we brought Laurel's evidence to the U.S. Capitol Police, instead of giving it to Michael Marando, the prosecuting attorney, they brought it to the defense attorney. And Thomas Paine at True Pundit has speculated, Garland, I'd love to hear your input. Thomas Paine, also former law enforcement, has speculated that the only way this could have occurred would be if the defense had somehow intervened and interfered with the normal process of the U.S. Capitol Police.
Yeah, it's so suspicious to me. And the other part of it is, it's the political context. Looking at it in a political context makes it even more suspicious. I'm not saying I have the answers, but, let's face it, this is D.C. And if the Democrats do, if the Republicans do something, the Democrats are going to try to, rub it all over their face and make them look bad. And if the Democrats do something, you'd expect the Republicans to do the same. But what's so suspicious is that this bipartisan avoidance of it, that I would think that Paul Ryan would be all over this. This is the House. Paul Ryan could be calling for, referring this to the Judicial Committee. They could be doing all kinds of inquiries requiring Debbie Wasserman Schultz, everybody to come forward. They could do their own Russiagate-style investigation to get to the bottom of this. Subpoena people the whole 9 yards, and they are mum's the word, and that is very suspicious.
I mean, is the silence of the Republicans weird to you in this, Jason?
I mean, the whole thing is weird, guys. Basically, I also contacted Michael Marando, who is the prosecutor, the U.S. attorney, and I wanted to tell him that not only did we discover all this evidence of hacking at 4809 Sprayer Street, we've discovered that Imran Awan is actually employed by Gowen, Silva, and Winograd. He's a telephone receptionist there. The last time we were here in court, Chris Gowen told Judge Tanya Chutkan that Imran needed his GPS bracelet removed because he was driving for Uber. And he refused to show any credentials related to Uber to me because Chris Gowen, who thinks he's an attorney, accused me of being fake news. He said he was going to show it to CNN, but we've seen no proof whatsoever that Imran ever drove for Uber, but we do have him recorded, and we also have him spotted there.
It is pretty established that Chris Gowen's actually an attorney, though, right?
I believe he is, but he's a very bad one.
Yeah, that's an opinion. I just want to be on the record, because that'd be a big story if Imran Awan's being, represented by someone who's not actually an attorney. That'd be huge. But he is actually an attorney.
There was some question about his status with the DC bar.
1320 Rod in Philly. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to, how you guys doing? What's going on, Jason? I wanted to talk about last weekend or the week before, last 2 weeks have been all about family separation and stuff, and I was kind of connecting this to Awans. They're so worried about families. This guy, he's allegedly beat on 3 of his wives, and Luke Rosiak reported that one of his wives was shot at in Pakistan, Samira, I believe her name is.
No, that's right. There's also we just lost you for some reason, Rod. But Jason, there's also the story about the mother-in-law, right?
Yeah, basically the mother-in-law, in her own words, had provided a police report accusing Imran of threatening her, hacking her cell phone, locking her in her own house and telling her that he was very powerful in Pakistan, that if she called the police again, that he would kill her relatives in Pakistan. He's not a nice guy. There's a lot of evidence to indicate, and it's really going to be a travesty of justice if Imran Awan walks today. The one other thing I wanted to point out to your listeners, guys, I contacted Michael Marando and he hung up the phone on me, refused to even listen to any of the evidence I wanted to share with him. He said he wouldn't talk to members of the press. Chris Gowen says I'm not a member of the press, so if I'm a member of the public sharing information with a U.S. attorney about a possibly dangerous espionage, agent of Pakistani ISI, I would hope they would listen. I found it very interesting that Michael Marando is married to a woman whose maiden name is Wasserman. Michael Marando is married to Joanna Wasserman, and I don't know if there's any connection to Debbie Wasserman Schultz or Stephen Wasserman, her brother, who is also in the U.S. Attorney's Office. So it's a very twisted kind of situation as far as who's involved in the prosecution.
We'd have to know more. On that, you'd have to know more. You'd have to know more, because Wasserman does not seem like it's that.
It's a very common name. But I did see Debbie Wasserman Schultz tweeting in 2016 about the Holocaust Museum. Joanna Wasserman is employed at the Holocaust Museum. It could all be a coincidence, for sure. We want to look into it some more.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy to me at that point, because a lot of people tweet about the Holocaust Museum. I'm just saying that right there, that's not enough for me to...
I'm not saying anything other than those facts, worthy of looking into. I'm looking forward to asking Mr. Marando today if his wife is at all related to Debbie or Stephen Wasserman.
I'm sure he'll be less happy to hear about that from you. That's
I don't think he'll answer that.
Hey guys, you got to get into court. So these things typically start on time?
Usually pretty good, yeah. I expect an Uber to arrive with Chris Gowen and Imran Awan and Jesse Winograd any moment, so hopefully we'll catch them on the way in. And people can watch this live stream on YouTube at Crowdsource the Truth and see all the action. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to record inside the courtroom, but I'll be back right after the hearing, and we'll know what happens. Either way, it's a historic day, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's a big day. Now, I got to say this. Thanks for joining us, Jason. I got to say this. I'm not worried in the following sense, Garland, because since they haven't charged... See, here's what it is. There's double jeopardy, right? Right. But double jeopardy wouldn't apply here, because Imran Awan has not been... Since he's not been charged with any of the more serious charges, they still could charge him with those things. But
know, here's the thing.
I'm right, though,
Right, but here's the thing. Generally, if you're going to charge somebody with something, you do an investigation and it all comes together. You know what I mean? You charge them with all the things, including the most serious stuff, you know? It's a rarity to see an investigation like this and a person's charged with, like, what could be argued the least serious issues, and they go to court and they do that, and then they come back later. That doesn't make sense. It leads me to believe that this is going to be it, and then they're...
Seems like this is it. All right, thanks, guys. That was Garland Nixon and Lee Stranahan, fault lines with Nixon and Stranahan. Really pleased to be on with those guys. You can catch them on Sputnik Radio. And of course, Lee is all over Periscope, a good friend of mine from back in the day. We're still waiting here for Imran Awan to show up for his plea hearing today. Very, very disappointed if Imran Awan is going to get away with what could be the biggest political scandal in U.S. history. Imran Awan may, in fact, have enabled a Pakistani ISI spy ring within Congress. There's been a lot of good reporting from the Daily Caller and other sources basically saying that with regard to the evidence going from U.S. Capitol Police to Gowan, Silva, and Winogrand.
Come on!
Oh, so here we see the buffoon, George Webb. Hey, George, why'd you make up all those lies about me? Why'd you make up all those lies?
What?
Where'd you get any evidence of an underage Ethiopian
I never
refugee?
said she was underage.
Yes, you did. You
No, I
lied,
didn't. I
George.
said it was 18.
You published
She's
my
18.
phone number,
No, she
and
was
you
18,
lied.
and Halima
Why don't you
is
shut up,
18.
George? You're ruining my live stream.
I never said she
What
was
an
underage.
unprofessional joke you are, George. You have no evidence for so much of what you say. You're muddying the waters. That was so unprofessional. So people can see what George Webb Swigert is all about. Making up lies at the appropriate time, gaining people's trust by revealing certain things. This is the very essence of a limited hangout. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. People would say it's jealousy. I don't think so. I think it's got more to do with George trying to control this investigation rather than actually solve it and get anywhere. We're getting very close to the time that we need to go into the court, and I do not see Imran anywhere. They tend to show up late because they don't want to stand out here and answer questions. Kind of like George. He doesn't want to answer questions. He doesn't want to answer how on earth are 150 sponsors providing him with $4,000 a month. That doesn't add up with the math for the way Patreon works. But let's get back to the facts here. Michael Marando is the U.S. attorney, the prosecutor. Chris Gowen told us about him in our last meeting there. I called Michael to share evidence that I have in the hopes of getting someone who I feel is a criminal prosecuted. Let's listen to that call.
Attorney's office for the District of Columbia.
Transferring to
Leslie Gomat.
No.
Hello?
Hi, I may have the wrong extension. I'm trying to reach Michael Mirando's office.
Hi, who is this?
This is Jason Goodman. Who's this?
Oh.
So we can see that Mr. Marando was not at all excited to speak with me, hung up the phone the second he realized it was me. I was disappointed. I think if he was for some reason unable to speak with me as a member of the press, he could have politely and professionally said that. And if he's unable to speak with me as a member of the public, he could have said that as well. I tried Mr. Mirando's office several times after that. I called multiple times. I emailed him. I sent him the evidence in the form of links to videos and photographs that showed the Cox Cable internet router, spoke about the locked shed at 4809 Sprayer Street, two significant pieces of evidence that that tall person who just went inside the courthouse also refused to talk about. Why? That's evidence in the case. Why would we not want to talk about that? Makes no sense to me. So, It's insanely hot today in Washington, D.C., and I just want to remind everyone watching that Crowdsource the Truth does not have large corporate sponsors like CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. We rely on the crowd. We are distributing the sponsorship throughout the viewership, and it's important, I think, to do that, to keep the news honest, so that no one particular sponsor is having an undue degree of influence from the financial standpoint. And it's really a new paradigm for distributing the cost of producing news like this. Obviously, traveling to Washington, D.C., going all around the country, and maintaining this work has a significant cost associated with it. So I hope that people watching will become sponsors of Crowdsource the Truth by going to patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and becoming a monthly sponsor. You can also make a one-time sponsorship payment by going to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth. And no one should feel obligated. This material is always free to view, but of course, in the absence of any ongoing financial remuneration, it will eventually become impossible to continue. So if you enjoy Crowdsource the Truth, if you enjoy this type of investigative journalism, crowdsource investigations, and you'd like to see the program continue, please do become a sponsor. And if you don't like me, you should consider sponsoring other alternative news sources. Pick your favorite, whether it's True Pundit, Quinn Michaels, Laura Loomer, any of the various people who are out there providing us with information that the mainstream media simply will not. We're learning a lot about the interconnections between this Washington, D.C. cabal. It's 5 minutes to 10 right here, and there is still no sign of Imran Awan. I would suspect it's possible that he might enter through the rear. Do you know if Imran has gone in another entrance?
I heard he's already in, but I don't know for sure.
Where'd you hear that from?
The camera girl on the other side.
Okay, that's good info. We're going to head inside right now, and I'm going to keep the live stream open, so we won't have video on demand on YouTube until after the hearing. So you heard that from somebody on your crew on radio or something?
My crew just ran.
It's real close to 10 a.m. Let's see if we can get in there. Don't really want to miss the proceedings. Do you know if Imran is in already? Do you know if Imran's inside already? Do you know if Imran Awan is inside the courtroom already? Imran is in there. Okay. So, we're back live, and what's just occurred is shocking. Gotta catch my breath here. But I do believe we're about to see Imran exit. Maybe this guy's driving the getaway car, because we've just seen a travesty of justice occur. A plea deal unlike anything anybody's ever seen, where Imran has pled guilty to lying on a loan application, bank fraud, mortgage fraud, in exchange for the government not charging him with any crimes, any non-violent crimes that he's committed. All these guys that we're looking at are U.S. Marshals who are eyeballing me. The U.S. Marshals have interviewed me and taken my information because I was speaking with Imran Awan. And now they've taken him out a restricted exit in an effort to prevent me from talking to him. It's quite outrageous. People should be shocked. Michael Marando, the U.S. attorney who is the prosecutor that Chris Gowen has told me so much about, how he's investigating these crimes, was not here today. It was some new guy who nobody has seen before, who's just come on the case, Luke Rosiak said to me right outside the courtroom. So where is Imran? Well, they took him through on the interior, and the other side of this door is this sign that says restricted access, authorized personnel only. And of course, I'm not allowed to record or even ask questions inside the courtroom. I think they're blocking him from coming out this door, John. Well, John doesn't want to talk to me. That's fine. We've presented evidence that Imran Awan very likely had a server in the house at 4809 Sprayer Street. That house was mentioned in the proceedings, but nothing about the warehousing of congressional data, only the mortgage. That was the only issue. So, I don't know where we might see Mr. Awan, but I would say it's quite doubtful that we'll see him again. We did get to hear him speak quite a bit inside the courtroom, and there's little doubt in my mind that it was him answering the phones at Gowen, Winograd, and Silva, or Gowen, Silva, and Winograd, whatever they're calling it now. But don't know what to say, folks. Imran Awan has pled guilty to bank fraud in exchange for not being charged with any other non-violent crimes prior to today. Any. I guess hacking Congress wouldn't be violent, except if the people who receive that hacked data choose to execute violence against, I don't know, SEAL Team 6 in Afghanistan flying in a Chinook helicopter, or any of the sensitive intelligence information that might have been gleaned from that activity. But I mean, what we're witnessing right now are the U.S. Marshals actively thwarting my ability to ask Chris Gowen, to ask Imran Awan what was in the shed at 4809 Sprayer Street. Why was Michael Marando not here today? Why did Michael Marando refuse to listen to my evidence about the shed, photographic evidence of a Cox cable internet router, testimony from Andre Taggart? Andre Taggart is a retired U.S. Marine. You guys are marshals? News? I don't know. So now apparently I'm the threat. That's interesting. It's so hot. That door's not opening. Did you see him?
No.
The U.S. Marshals took him out this exit.
The U.S. Marshals took him?
Well, because what happened was...
Was he under arrest or?
Well, no. What happened was I went to the pretrial services room. Can I speak to you, Luke?
Yeah. It's good to see you.
You too. Let me just tell you what happened.
Okay.
I went to the pretrial services room because he was having his ankle bracelet removed. And I said to him, pretty good plea deal, Imran, no crimes prior to today. And he got angry and he got up and he walked into the other room. Marshal came in, told me to leave, took my driver's license, recorded my information, and he said, you're not allowed to interview anyone in the courthouse. I said, I wasn't interviewing him. I just said...
Well, the Washington Post, Imran Awan gave an interview to the Washington Post before the plea.
In the courthouse?
The court gave all the documents to the Washington Post, or maybe Imran Awan's lawyer probably gave it to him. But all these reporters who haven't covered it closely were given the documents in advance and pre-wrote stories saying that he was cleared of all charges and that therefore this whole thing was a conspiracy theory because the DOJ said so. Imran Awan personally gave an interview to the Washington Post.
Oh my God.
You know, because we were in the courtroom, there wasn't really many people there.
No.
The rest of the media, they basically arranged it in advance where the media was fed information so they didn't even need to go. Me, I've been covering this closely. No one's given me the court documents. So the Washington Post is up with a story right now that they had published within seconds of the plea deal, saying that the government now says that it's all a conspiracy theory, and Imran Awan personally gave an interview saying that Donald Trump picked on him because he has a Pakistani last name. Of course, that omits the fact that Yvette Clarke, a black Democrat from New York, her chief of staff said that Imran Awan's family was engaging in crimes, that the Nancy Pelosi appointed Inspector General, I guess he thinks, framed him. I guess everyone else, all his stepmom, they all conspired and independently.
Why was Marando not here today, Luke?
There was not a single, there was no one at the prosecutor's table other than this one guy who literally has never been involved in the case until yesterday.
Wow. Wow. Well, the U.S. Marshals escorted him to protect him from me.
To protect him.
Out this door.
Yep.
But he hasn't come out. So I don't know. I mean, the sign said no unauthorized access beyond this point. So obviously I couldn't go, and they were itching to arrest me. I guess Congress should have had a sign
that said the same thing, no unauthorized access.
Yes, exactly.
The IG found that he made unauthorized access. Now the government is trying to backtrack on things that it had evidence of a year ago. We're to believe that all this evidence that they had a year ago has now gone away somehow.
Well, Marando refused to look at the evidence that I presented that there was possibly a server warehousing congressional data in the shed at 4809 Square. There's a lot more evidence
they had than that they didn't look at, you know.
Why did they do that?
It's being protected in more ways than one, obviously. I think when you saw him taken out by U.S. Marshals for his own protection, that was some good bit of symbolism there for the way this entire case has been proceeded. I gotta go because I need to find out.
Good talking to you, Luke.
I need to get documents for what this agreement is, because apparently
we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it.
Everyone except
anyone who's been
and
actually
why?
covering
Because the people who have been following it know how to rebut it and say, well, what about this or what about that? Or you've contradicted yourself here. But you go to some idiot like Sean Boebert from the Washington Post. That guy will eat up anything that they tell him.
You know, Sean Boebert ran a story one day after we presented the video, Hidden Network Topology.
But well, he's got a story up right now that was put up 30 seconds after he pled guilty because they gave him the documents in advance. Imran Awan said it was all because he's Pakistani. The problem is, you know, the documents show what they show, and I don't know how they went backwards on evidence over the last year. But this is a cover-up.
Thanks for what you've been doing, Luke. Take care of yourself.
Yep.
Luke Rosiak from the Daily Caller. Now, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Is that him? Is that Imran in the car? No, it's not. They just really don't want to let him out.
So he hasn't come out?
I haven't seen him come out. I mean, this certainly looks like a U.S. Marshal's car. Gowen was wearing a tie that looked like he took off a John Gotti, and those guys aren't. That's two guys, couldn't really make out their faces inside the car. I'm sure they got in their car, they're in the garage, he's gonna come out right now. Nobody's gonna be able to talk to him. Who's the shady over here? Yeah, this could be the marshals getting him, driving him to his car. Is he in there? It's a loading dock. I mean, it looks like that guy up there at the top of the stairs.
Those look like
FBI something. U.S. Marshals. So now it seems the courts and law enforcement are protecting possible Pakistani agents from U.S. citizens who want answers, members of the press, people who are simply asking questions based on evidence. We are literally witnessing in real time a travesty of justice. Now, who's that? She sees us. A lot of eyeballs on us over here. It's very surprising. I mean, I don't know how long I can wait here to see if Imran Awan comes outside. See, I hope this is going out live right now. I believe I set it so that it will just resume the stream. Yeah, it looks like we're live. Here comes a car. Is Imran in it? No. No, Luke's leaving. He might have gotten some info. Thanks for talking to me, Luke. That was a nice update. Luke's been covering this since the beginning, of course. Okay, that guy's a marshal who I saw before. They just don't want him to be spoken to. Am I on court property? Do I have to stand here? Looks like I'm coming over to be spoken to by... Well, all right. Perhaps this means Imran is coming out. Wait here a little while longer. Definitely have to get some water. This is just absurd. So Imran Awan has pled guilty to making a false statement on a bank loan. Well, they just opened the door and said, yeah. So they know I'm out here waiting. And they don't want to come out. Well, why? Guys, well, I guess now they could just go out the other exit that they know I'm here. Running me around. I don't understand. They could just walk out and not say anything. Well, Pakistani Mystery Man seems to be skating away. Are the marshals preventing me from speaking to Imran? These guys. So there's the agent who took my information.
Alright, Jason. Try to let them out here so we don't impede their traffic. I don't want you to get hit.
Is this Imran coming out in a car?
I don't want you to get hit.
I understand.
With the vehicle here.
Is it Imran coming out under Marshal's protection? In the blacked out windows there? Can you tell me that? Why do you think the U.S. Marshals need to protect very probable criminals from U.S. citizens who want to ask questions?
Sir, I'm not going to be able to talk to you about that.
Was that Imran in the car?
I can't talk to you about that, sir. That'd be a better statement for our press office.
Yeah, they're not going to tell me anything. I feel like that was Imran because you and I were speaking inside. That guy checked the door.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.
Okay. Good to meet you, Jason.
Can I stand here?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a good day, sir.
You too. Take
Anything
care.
else you want to tell me?
I want to tell you that we found photographic evidence, witness testimony, including from a U.S. Marine, that he had stolen government property in one house that he rented to the Marine. He had a locked shed with an air conditioner in it, connected to a garage that had a Cox high-speed internet router connected to it, very probably bringing data from Congress. He was barred by the U.S. Capitol Police from accessing the congressional network because he had thousands of unauthorized logins. He is very probably a cyber terrorist, risking the lives, possibly of U.S. Marshals, U.S. military personnel, U.S. civilians. What happened today, officer, was a historic travesty of justice. And I hope that wasn't him under U.S. Marshal protection. Am I wasting my time standing here to wait for him to come outside? Can you answer that?
Can't answer that, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Good to meet you, Jason.
Likewise.
Okay.
Well, I think Imran is gone. And I'm under surveillance by the U.S. Marshals. That's crazy. Hey, did you guys see a Pakistani Mystery Man inside there? Yeah, I mean, they're not so stupid that they're going to have him walk out the very door that I'm standing right in front of, so that makes no sense. Well, there you go. Whole lot of nothing. Well, shouldn't say that. Whole lot of something. No Marando. Judge Chutkan did say that the sentencing will occur August, I forget when. Yeah, see, that woman's an officer of the court who is looking right at me. They've had a coordinated effort here to prevent me from speaking to Imran Awan. I wonder why that is. Obviously something they don't want me talking to him about. Don't know what. They just don't want me saying anything to him. This is such a tightly protected matter. It's really quite difficult to it's unbelievable. The sentencing's going to occur August. I'll have to look it up on Pacer. I forget the exact date that they gave. Judge Chutkan did say that she could sentence him to up to 30 years in prison, which, you know, I don't care so much about that. I wanted to find out what he was up to. Find out who's protecting him, why Michael Marando doesn't want to see evidence that would help him prosecute. He's the prosecutor. I would think that if he is being charged with bank fraud to purchase houses to warehouse data in, they might want to know about all the evidence they could get their hands on, but I would be incorrect to make that assumption. Well, all right. I think that's all we're going to get from the courthouse today. Unfortunately. I've got to go get some water. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll be back later on today, 3 o'clock, with Lee Stranahan and Dr. Corsi. We're going to talk about what happened here at the court today. Thanks, everybody.